What's up everybody, Ben the Blur here today, bringing you a brand new video. Today, I'm bringing you a video which might be the first of a new series on this channel. For those of you who may or may not know, a very long time ago I had a series on this channel, which was LEGO Transformers War on Cybertron. I basically took characters like Optimus Prime, Bumblebee, Megatron and Starscream, and made them into Cybertronian versions of their characters, based on what I think their robot mode and vehicle modes would look like if they were on Cybertron. But a few months ago, I decided, you know what, let's just make something for fun. Until I came up with a brand new idea to create my own custom characters, and my storyline for these characters is these Autobots and Decepticons, as I should say, were the ones who were left on Cybertron, while the rest of the Autobots and Decepticons, like Prime and Megatron, etc., left Cybertron for Earth to continue their war. And so today, I present to you my first custom character, Talos Prime. Talos Prime here in his Cybertronian truck mode. Obviously, as you can tell, he is a red and blue and grey, and also black Cybertronian truck. He is obviously very inspired by Optimus Prime. I like to think that Talos is somewhat of a relative to Optimus. He's like a younger cousin who is, you know, his life began shortly before the events of the war started to unfold. And so growing up with stories and legends of Orion Pax turning into Optimus to then turning into Optimus Prime, he sort of studied up on him, read all of his thoughts and opinions, every single case file to do with Orion Pax or Optimus Prime. And so he basically took it upon himself to become the next Optimus Prime. But yeah, here he is in his Cybertronian truck mode. As you can see, he's got a lot of kibble on this back. Got the nice blue windshield with the binocular pieces up here on the top, which are meant to represent guns and not the lights that usually are on the top of Prime's hood. Got the smokestacks here, the grille panel, the two little headlights down here, 2 wheels at the front, 4 wheels at the back, gas tank assemblies here. You can see his head sort of poking out the back, but I'm honestly not too fussed by that. Underneath, everything is fairly clean, except you can see his thighs, and you can probably tell where this is all going to be going in transformation. So for a quick size comparison, here he is compared to the classics Optimus Prime toy. So if I put them length to length, obviously you can tell that the Optimus Prime figure is a lot bigger. I imagine if this is the size of Optimus Prime's vehicle mode, this guy would be about a little bit bigger. But I think you know, sort of gets the point across. But yeah, not really that much to say about him other than he's basically a recoloured, slightly different version of Optimus. So, yeah. Anyway, without further ado, I think it's time to transform this guy. Now, transforming Talos Prime can be a bit of a nightmare, given how there's, specifically from his waist down, there's lots of stud friction joints. So I will have to ask you to bear with me, because several of these joints will be easily popped off and will fall apart whilst transforming him. But as long as we stick to it and power through, we can get him done. So first things first, we're just going to peg off this little like flag antenna pole thing. It's translucent red. Set that off to the side. Now we can also take off this, which of course becomes his battle axe. Nothing special about that. And then there's this assembly here. We're just going to unpeg one from this middle assembly and wiggle it off from the other one. This becomes his rifle, his gun. And we're going to set that off to the side and have Prime here. Now before we do anything else, we are just going to pop off these little gas tanks. You can realistically leave these on him, but I think it is just a bit easier to leave them on him. To take them off him, because as you can probably tell, his legs are starting to flop about a bit. But these do become accessories as well, so we're just going to set off them to the side. Alright, Now to transform him, I think it's best if we actually... Oh, see, there we go. If you flip him over like this. So first things first, sorry. We're going to take one leg at a time. So we're going to raise this leg up. And then this assembly is going to flip around. And then we're going to bring this almost flat, but not completely. To about there. Then on the inside, there's a 1x4 flat tile. We're going to bring this out, and then this will just rest on that bar. I'm going to do the same for this whole wheel assembly as well. Just like that. And then these are going to become like heel spurs for his feet. So we're going to do the same on the other side. Rotate this around. Bring this almost all the way down. Then this panel will come all the way out. And then the wheel assembly will come all the way out and around as well. Okay. Now what we're going to do, is these wheels are attached onto jumper plates. So we're just going to rotate these around just like that. And that's on both sides. Just like so. And then while this is like this, we're going to bring the whole leg assembly upwards. Just like that. And then I like to bend these sections to the side. Just like that. So that it sort of gives his legs a bit more of a dynamic positioning. So now that this is like this, what we're going to do is this whole assembly here, where the legs connect to, the waist, is going to rotate on this jumper plate, just like that, so that his chest and his body now will come to the proper placement. Now what we're going to do is we're going to come to these assemblies. This whole section, this section here is going to swing out to the sides. Twist this around, and then this whole cab section, back of this cab section, is going to swing out. We're just going to swing it out about 90 degrees because we need to focus on the arms. This whole assembly here is going to swing up on this clip. I'm going to pause there for a moment so that this will swing up, this will collapse in again. This will flip all the way around, up, like that, and then out, and then this whole clip is going to push along, and then up and in for you to bring the arm down. Now we take these smokestacks here, and on these fire hose pieces, we're just going to pull them out and swing them down slightly, so they sit a bit more comfortably on his back. So we'll do the same on the other side. This assembly here, going to bring that out, then this clip is going to come up, and we might as well bring this forward. This whole assembly will come up, then this will come up as well, fold around on that jumper plate, come up, and we bend, oh sorry, can't really see that, can you? Then we bend the arm down at the elbow. Then while these are still back here, we need to bring up his head. So the windshield, oh there goes his leg. The windshield splits in half, his head comes up. Oh, that's a stiff joint today. Rotates around, reattaches legs, and there we have Talos Prime in his robot mode. So here we have Talos Prime in his robot mode, and he's pretty unique. He does remind me a lot of Movie Prime as well as the Transformers Prime Optimus Prime. He obviously has lots of resemblances, like the head shape, the very long and sleek thin looking legs with the big chunky feet, the wide torso with the split windshield, and the sort of big shoulders and then spindly arms. He does have a fair bit of articulation. His head can go backwards on that joint where his head comes up for transformation and can turn 360 degrees. His elbows can go in and out and move up and down. His shoulders can move in and out as well. They can't really move up and down on like this way, just because of the way his transformation works. His waist can rotate, his legs can go forward and backwards. Have swivels at the thighs, he has swivels at the knees, and his knees can go forward and backwards. His feet can move forward and backwards and do a slight turn to turn, and of course his heels can be positioned as well however you like. For a quick size comparison, here he is with Classics Optimus, who is also transformed. As you can see, Classics Optimus is a Voyager, so he is quite tall. He's a bit shorter than a deluxe class figure like Bumblebee or, you know, like Sideswipe or someone. But obviously, if this is the size that Optimus is, Talos I think would be, maybe instead of being up to here like he is, he'd actually be like up to his shoulder. Would be a bit taller than he is now. But yeah, let's just set him off to the side. He obviously does have his accessories that we pegged off earlier. You know, you've got his rifle, you've got his axe, and you've got these two gas tank pieces, which are on these ratchet joints. So you can ratchet hinges, which you can peg off. You can obviously peg the gun into one hand. Oh, sorry. You could peg the gun into one hand on that jumper plate there, which is meant to represent his fist. You can obviously peg the axe into the other. Or what you can do is you can take these, peg one under one arm, one under the other to give him little arm blades, like Optimus. Or you can actually peg one into the other and then peg that under one arm to give him a bigger arm blade. That sort of reminds me of the shaped sword that he has in that Optimus has in Transformers Prime. And of course the axe does peg into his hand as well, which is quite unique. Talos Prime and the other LEGO Transformers I have made and will make all have their own unique abilities. I like to think Talos Prime was left on Cybertron not only because he's a relative of Optimus and, you know, he trusts him, he thinks and acts like Optimus, but because of another unique ability of his. All of these black grille panels all over his body, the ones on his feet, the ones on his shins, the ones on his stomach, the ones on his shoulder pads, they're all meant to represent solar panels. I like to think that Talos, because of that, he has the power to use these solar panels and absorb the power of the sun. And he can use that to do several different things, such as walk into a building and power it up, use it to supply ammo to a gun, use it to heal other people, including himself. But also, he's able to use this power to do one huge, powerful attack. So, we're going to take the smokestacks off his backpack. But yes, let's just set Talos back here for now. I imagine that when he harnesses this power, it travels up, like a yellow stream of energy travels up through his body. You take his axe, and you take his gun. You peg the axe into the gun here, and you pull these slabs back, one on each side. So you can take this cylinder, bring it out to the end. The smokestacks plug right into the side of his cannon, and then the arm blades pull out, plug that in there and close that joint up just like that. And this gives him a sort of very strange, unique looking gun slash sniper slash crossbow, which I think is pretty cool. He's able to use his power into a single blast of energy, which he calls his solar flare. You simply plug this red antenna piece that we saw earlier in the video right back on, and he can obviously not just hold it in his hand, that works, but with the proper leg positioning he is actually able to stand up completely on his own with it, which I'm very surprised about. I thought this guy would be extremely heavy. But there is his solar flare power. I imagine he stands there in the middle of a battlefield clenching his fists, and you see the giant energy of the sun being drawn down towards him. It fills up across his body. All of his accessories, all of his weapons and the smokestacks come apart and all clink on together to create this giant weapon. And then he uses it in one giant blast, firing it towards the enemy, obliterating it and destroying everything in its path. However, of course, it does take an enormous toll on him. Having used so much energy, it drains his life force. The bigger the power blast he uses, the deeper his sleep is. He goes offline, comes online a few hours later, kind of weak. But I think that is extremely cool. And I think this guy looks so awesome standing on a shelf with this giant weapon using his ability. And there we have it. There's Talos Prime. If you guys like this type of video and you want to see more, please leave a like. I have made 4 other characters which I am going to make showcase videos of. If you want to see more or you have any suggestions of Cybertronian characters you want me to make, then obviously leave them down in the comments below. But thank you guys so much for watching. I'm really happy I could show you this guy off to you. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.